Good afternoon, or maybe good evening, everyone. How are you guys and gals doing today? Doing well? How many of you, your brains are mush? Okay, guess what? Mine too. I've been working on some of the demos today since like Saturday afternoon, more or less, with a few brief naps in between then and today. And so hopefully, if we're lucky, I'll remember some of the code that I've written because, let's be real, there are no comments in it. Come on, guys. I can tell it's at the end of the day. So thank you so much. My name is Ryan Jones. I am Principal PM Director of the Common Data Service team. Now, one of the things I'll also point out to you is that says PM Director, okay? Not Engineering Director. You will be able to tell this based on some of the code that I'm going to show you today as well, okay? But really what we're going to be looking at today is how you can use the Common Data Service to improve your productivity, as well as look at how you can integrate the Common Data Service with other capabilities that exist in Azure. Now let me ask you, how many of you consider yourselves to be Azure developers? Okay, how many of you consider yourselves to be Power Apps people? I don't know if we call them developers or not. Okay, or wait, did I say people? I meant developers. I didn't mean for that to be pejorative, right? The idea behind Power Apps is we're making it easier for people to build applications so that they don't have to be professional coders. I'm worried I said something really bad based on your laughter. Was it offensive? Okay. Okay. I said something in an interview yesterday that I wasn't supposed to say, and so I'm a little anxious about that. So bear with me and don't report me, okay? And so let's see. And so yeah, let's keep going. So, oh, and how many of you have worked on XRM or Dynamics in the past? Okay, gosh, lots of you. So maybe some of you can trade places with me before the end of the session, because you might know more about this than I do. So what is the Common Data Service? The Common Data Service easily structures, number one. Number two, a variety of business data. Number two. Number three, support interconnected business applications and processes. One of the things that we see is it's very, very difficult for people to build interconnected business applications and business processes when every single application is built over the top of its own data silo, right? Makes sense? How many of you have dealt with shuffling data back and forth between different systems before, right? Every single one of us. So definitely a common problem there. The other thing is that we really want to touch on is the ease of use, or the ease of this process where you can bring structure to this business data. In that when you look, we'll get to this here in a few minutes, but when you look at all the different ingredients that we glue together as a part of the Common Data Service, it makes it actually very, very easy to bring structure to a variety of different types of business data. So yes, ease of use as well as variety of business data for interconnected business apps and processes. And so this is critically important to organizations today when you look at the digital feedback loop. How many of you have seen this slide before? Okay, this is the low budget version. The dots don't fly around in circles like they normally do. But at the end of the day, every single business is in the business of engaging customers, improving their operations, empowering their employees, and transforming products. And to do this, what's central is data as well as insights over the top of that data. Now, also, the reason this is the low budget version is the really fancy version in the middle says data and insights. This is really Ryan's version, where he puts the Common Data Service in the middle of all that, okay? Because when you even look at our first-party business applications that exist today, Dynamics 365 for sales, Dynamics 365 for customer service, Dynamics 365 for field service, Dynamics 365 for marketing, Dynamics 365 for talent, are all actually built on top of the Common Data Service today, okay? And so if you as a company are already using Dynamics 365, much of your businesses or much of your company's corporate data already resides inside of the Common Data Service. And so to frame this in the context of the broader Power Platform, we have Power Apps, Flow, Power BI, all built over the top of data that comes from different places. Two of those are the Common Data Service, that's why we're here talking today, and the other place that you can get data is from remote data sources, the data connectors. There are over 200 of these, and these allow you to, interact with data where it resides rather than bringing it into a centralized place. Now, one of the things that we see that's quite beneficial of being able to bring this data into a single place is you can define the schema, you can bring structure to it, and you can define the business rules, business logic, so that you can maintain integrity of that data. And so, to look just at what's inside the Common Data Service, we're actually one of the largest Azure customers in the world. We use lots and lots of Azure. I keep joking that one of these days that maybe Scott or Jason will let me come to their box at the Seahawks game, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting for my invitation. And so the thing that I really want to draw your attention here is this should not dictate how you use the Common Data Service. Most people don't even know that these things exist. However, what we do is we assemble a variety of Azure resources in order to provide you something that you could almost think of as like a data PaaS or a data platform as a service, where we have an API tier for interacting with all your data. We have an asynchronous processing tier for interacting with that data using background jobs or asynchronous processing services. We have sandbox machines that execute custom code, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then we have a variety of storage technologies that sit behind the scenes. This includes Azure SQL, which if you guys have worked with XRM for a while, you know that we've been SQL-based in the XRM CDS Dynamics family for a long time. But we also store lots of data within Azure Blobs. We store data increasingly in Cosmos DB, and we also handle all of our searching and indexing through Azure Search. And so based on the configuration that you provide us on your schema, we determine what the right place is for your data to live. In fact, you'll note that today we have 3 different SKUs for how you purchase additional capacity for the Common Data Service. We have database capacity, we have file capacity, and we have log capacity. And we actually use all 4 of those different storage technologies to support the data that you store within our service. And then you'll notice I have that nice vertical bar there. We then integrate with a set of Azure services to integrate with your own infrastructure. Of course, we have our APIs that are exposed over the left side of the screen. But then over on the right-hand side of the screen, we also have, we integrate with Service Bus, Event Hub, also webhooks for being able to integrate with code that you write that runs outside of our service. So with that said, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. In the past, I've done these presentations walking through lots of slides to explain concepts. But I am going to try to do something a little bit differently today. We'll see how it goes. We're actually going to spend a lot more time in the Maker experience from within Visual Studio as well as the Azure Functions portal as we walk through a demo today. But to start, since this is data, we're going to start with, and I'm worried you're all going to run out of the room as soon as I show you this, an ERD, okay? Now, I have to confess, guys, it's been so long since I've drawn one of these, I had to ask somebody on my team to do it for me because I couldn't remember how to get the crow's feet to go in the right direction. So Maya was so generous on my team. I don't know if she's listening right now, but she was so generous that she fixed this for me. So our application is a family photo travel app. The idea is, I have a beautiful wife, I have 2 little girls, 3 and 6, and they are the most adventurous people I've ever met in my life. My daughter, my 6-year-old, has been dying to go to Paris. We were able to take her to Paris over their spring break. That was amazing. We went to Versailles, and she wore her little princess dress in the castle. It was awesome. But with all these places that we get to go, we take lots of photos, and we wanted to be able to track and map out on a map where we go so that the girls can geographically understand the places that they visited better. And so our app today is actually very simple. In fact, we're not even going to have time to cover all of these different things today. So there's really 2, 3 things that you'll want to be aware of. Number 1 is we have country, right? Makes sense, a place that we visited. We have a photo, which has relationships with the country, as in the photo was taken within a given country. We have relationship with tag and with contact, contact being the family member, and tag being, you know, the presence of a family member within the photo. Make sense? By the way, in the past, I used to do a demo for cupcake requests, but the biggest piece of feedback I always got is that we didn't have cupcakes at the end of the session, and so we won't have that problem. And to answer ahead of time, no, I'm not going to take you to Paris. And so let's get into some demos, just in time for me to need to log in again. That's how it always goes, right, guys? There we go. So this is our Power Apps Maker experience. How many of you have seen this screen before? Okay, a lot of you. And so since we're going to start with schema, how many of you would say, hey, let's go click on this data button? Okay, so that's not the right place to go. And I know that that's kind of tricky. You're actually going to want to go down here to solutions. And the reason that we want to start with solutions is solutions are really the anchor point that we use for application lifecycle management. You can think of them as a container for a set of changes. These could be customizations to an existing application. These could be an application. These could be a suite of applications. It could be a part of an application. But think of it as a set of changes that you want to package and shuffle around between different environments, like between dev and test and prod. Or if you're an ISV, to be able to shuffle it around between different customers of yours. And we have two different flavors of solutions. We have managed solutions and we have unmanaged solutions. You can think conceptually of unmanaged solutions as being uncompiled code. Once they're installed into another environment, people can pick right where you left off. Think of managed solutions as being compiled code, where people can't mess around with what you've provided in that solution. Now, with that in mind, there is a bit of a gray area where you can have managed properties, where people can only tweak certain parts of a solution, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. The other rabbit hole that we're not going to go down, but I want to let you know, is if you are an ISV and you're looking to distribute the applications that you build on top of CDS and the Power Platform through our marketplace, AppSource, you actually use these solutions, you incorporate them into what is called a package, and that package is what's distributed into different customer environments via our AppSource capabilities. And so enough about solutions. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first entity. And so I'm going to open up my TravelApp solution. It is unmanaged because I'm currently working on editing and customizing that application. And so, sorry, just checking my notes here to make sure I don't forget anything. And so I'm going to select my very first entity, contact. And ta-da, it has first name and last name right there. Earth-shattering, right? Well, guess what? I can't take credit for this amazing intellectual property because this was actually already there in the Common Data Service by default. The Common Data Service comes with a set of entities that come from the Common Data Model. The Common Data Model is a modular set of schema packs that represent commonly used business entities, okay? And so CDS comes out of the box with what we call App Common, but then you can also install some of our Dynamics applications over the top of that. That includes schema like sales, service, marketing, things for finance and operations, so on and so forth. Or we also have a way that third parties in the community can interact with the Common Data Model as well, and that they build solution accelerators, or kind of think of them as schema packs that a broad set of people use and distribute via open source. So we have accelerators for higher education, for nonprofits, and a few other industries as well, okay? And so, let's see. Yeah, out-of-box CDS comes with about 100 entities. If you look at a Dynamics instance, it normally has a bit over 300. And so, since I didn't create it, I won't spend any more time on it. We're now going to go over and we're going to take a look at country. And so the first thing that I want to show you about country is country code. And so this, because I wanted to have a standard way to understand country locations, I couldn't just use the country name because they vary sometimes. This is actually the ISO 3166 Alpha 3 representation of country code. Look it up. I promise I didn't make that up, even though based on the snores in the back of the room, maybe I did. And so the one thing, though, that I want to point out to you is, number one, there's this attribute called searchable. Remember earlier how I was talking about how we use different storage technologies and just make magic happen behind the scenes based on these configuration items. When you select searchable, what that does is that indicates to us that we need to place that information into Azure Search for richer or more robust search capabilities. The other thing I wanted to show you is if I expand advanced options, I can also go through and define things like length. In this case, my max length is 3 because it is ISO 3166 Alpha 3. Alpha 3 is in only 3 characters, and so I don't really need anything longer than 4 characters in that particular field. Now, the other thing that's kind of interesting about putting this data in CDS versus doing this other ways is, that's interesting. Give me 1 second. is that we provide you a couple of very easy ways of kind of getting started. The first thing is I've highlighted that Get Data button. What this does is this allows you to create a data integration project, which will bring data from external services like CSV or other data sources into CDS in a fairly lightweight manner. You can go through and do things like eliminate certain columns, do column mapping, so on and so forth. Think of it as like lightweight integration services to bring things into CDS. The other thing you can do is once it's there, we also have cool integrations with things such as Office. We talk a lot about our integration with Power Apps and Office all the time, but this is also at the CDS layer as well. And so what I've done here is I have opened up that country table. I've imported data into that earlier, and you can see all these country codes right here. And so if I wanted to go through and edit one of these, which I won't do because I don't want to mess up someone's country, but I could go through and edit this data if I so choose directly through Excel. If you think about the work that would be involved in exposing data from pick your arbitrary storage provider of choice and wiring up directly to Excel, that's not necessarily easy or straightforward to do. And so if I go back to my entity, the other thing that I wanted to show you on my country is my photo count. And I tell you, there's actually a little bug here. So I'm going to go to our old Solution Explorer right here. Go look at country. By the way, feel like you just went in a time machine? I'm going to go to Fields, and then if I scroll down, I should be able to find my photo count. And this is what we call a roll-up field. A roll-up field is an aggregation that's performed over a relationship with an aggregate function. And so in this particular case, what I'm doing is I'm looking at all my photos that have been tagged with a particular country, and I'm counting the number of photos. This helps me understand whether or not we have visited a particular country, okay? And then let's see. I think that's all I was going to show you. In fact, I can show you the roll-up expression here. You can see, hey, I look at the relationship, and then with country, and then it's the aggregate count of photo. Make sense? Okay. And so if I go back to my entity view, the final entity I want to show you is my photo. And this is where we're actually going to store all of our images, kind of. Because if I click on Entity Settings here, what you'll note here is it says Enable Attachments. This is actually very important because we're going to be storing all of our photos in what we call attachments today. Okay? Attachments are today how we know, hey, this is a particular type of data that should be stored in Azure Blob or as file rather than as relational data. And so if I look through my attachments, the next thing I wanted to point out to you is my latitude and longitude, where similarly to like what I did around text limits earlier, I'm able to find maximum and minimum values for latitude. I don't know what happens if you go to -91. Does it just wrap? Or is it like, how does that work? You go back in time? Okay, I like that one. And similarly for longitude as well. Let's see if I type these in correctly. Yeah, -180 and +180. Also 6 decimal places of precision permitted there. And then finally, I wanted to show you relationships, which is how we're able to define the relationship between two different entities. And so here you can see the relationship that we have between photo and country. This is what we used earlier for that for the roll-up that we talked about. And then we also have a many-to-many relationship between photo and contact, which is that tagging item that we discussed earlier. And we're not actually going to have enough time, I don't believe, to look at that today. And so that actually concludes the part of the session where we're looking at the more low-code, drag and drop, click stuff. And so now we're going to get into some more advanced topics. And so I want to walk through what our application is going to do, or what different components of our application are going to do. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the OData APIs that are exposed by the Common Data Service to create our photo stub entity, and then to upload images and attach them to that entity as annotations. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a registration which defines how creating an annotation will push messages into a service bus queue. Those queued messages will then trigger an Azure function. That Azure function, how many of you guys have used Azure functions? Okay, cool. How many of you have used Azure functions with managed identity? Oh, okay, cool. So that'll be a good learning thing. And we'll use that managed identity to talk to CDS, since there's some kind of speed bumps along the way, and so we'll talk about those through our journey. We're then going to talk about how our function retrieves the annotation and the relationship info. We kind of work back from the annotation to find out what photo it was associated with. While we have that annotation, we're going to read the EXIF data to get GPS coordinates. The function then calls Azure Maps to get our ISO 3166, oh, I'm sorry, 1, I forgot that 1 at the end, Alpha 3 country code. And then finally, we create a relationship within our system between the photo and the country. Okay? Make sense? Any questions? Okay. And so let's get into some code. And so we'll start over in Visual Studio. And so I have to admit that this is not really working with Azure, this part. It just talks to the Common Data Service through our OData APIs. So the first thing you'll notice here is standard Azure Active Directory based authentication. We actually have an application that's been set up ahead of time for all these demos, so you can steal this one and use it at your leisure. We then have the base URI that's used for building our resource for ADAL, and then ADAL does its thing where it turns around and retrieves a bearer token. Okay, so we leverage, when communicating through our OData APIs, just standard bearer token based authentication. One of the cool things about this that's actually in the process of lighting up is us to be able to provide instant enforcement around AAD conditional access. We then instantiate and configure our HTTP client by creating it, and then turning around and slapping that bearer token on the side of it. And then the next thing that I want to do, that we do, is we'll go ahead and dump the photo metadata. So all those things that we were clicking around in the UX to set up earlier on photo, all that information is available through our OData APIs. And so let's go ahead and kick this off. Hopefully I didn't break it while I was adding comments feverishly. Okay. And so here we can actually see, we're not going to read it line by line, otherwise we'll be here until next month, but all the different metadata attributes that describe the shape of that particular photo entity. And so one of the interesting things about this is when you think about how we expose CDS data in a very natural way through Power Apps Canvas applications or Power Apps model-driven applications or even through flows, the way that those services interact with the common data services are through this exact same API, okay? And so the way that you end up with like those crazy responsive drag and drop type experiences in Canvas apps and model-driven apps, they leverage this metadata to enable those sorts of experiences. And so while it is verbose, if I'm honest, it is very, very extensive in its nature, okay? And so the next thing that we're going to do is we'll look at our upload photo method. And this one's a little bit more interesting, so we'll go in and look at that. And so I have a local directory on my machine here. It's like sitting right here of various vacation photos from our family. And so we're going to iterate through each of those. We're going to get the file, content itself, and then we're going to turn around and let's not do that. And then we're going to turn around and get the file name information. We're then going to start building our photo entity create request, and then we're going to build a stub body. Okay, so remember I talked earlier about how we had a photo entity and we also had an annotation. The reality is the bulk of the interesting stuff about the photo isn't really on the photo entity itself. There's a photo entity with a relationship to an annotation, and so more or less really the only thing that we're setting on the photo entity itself right now anyway is the file name. And then we'll go ahead and submit the request. And then we're going to look at the location header that comes back because we actually need that OData object ID for when we associate the annotation with that photo entity later. I'm now going to start building the annotation request object. By the way, note all the URIs, they follow the OData v4 patterns. We support all of those good things. And then we're going to turn around and build the body with the file info. And so I'm going to start saying, yes, this is a document. This actually tells us how to behave in case you were ever to open this up in a model-driven or Canvas application. We provide the file name, which really is a convenience, the MIME type for that, and then the object type code, which once again is the type of object that the annotation will reference. And then we bind it or establish the relationship with that particular photo record. Or I guess we're just building it in the request. We then base64 encode the file content and add it to the request as well. And then we submit it to the service. And so I'm just going to go ahead and let this continue. And let me insert a breakpoint here for our next item. And so now we're just going to rip through that directory, uploading all of those different items. It'll take a few seconds here to upload those, but they'll be done in a second, hopefully. And then what we'll do is we'll go through and use the OData APIs for retrieving the photo data as well. And so if I go ahead and do that, what we'll see here is we've dumped that to the console as well. And you'll see these are stub records in that we have an e-tag for them, we have the name, which I set, we have the latitude and longitude, which are not currently set because we haven't done that yet, right? That's later in our exercise or our demo. And then I have the ID of those particular photos. And so with this demonstration here, what we have done is we have taken a bunch of photos that resided on my local machine, we have iterated through them, we have created photo records, we have created annotation records, and we have linked the annotation records to the appropriate photo records, okay? And behind the scenes, once again, this data is stored in the right place without us needing to do any additional work. And so from here, let's go to the next step of our demonstration, which is how we are going to configure this to push information over to Service Bus. And so brace yourselves, we're going to hop in the time machine again, okay? I'm going to pull up the plugin registration tool. How many of you guys have used the plugin registration tool before? Okay, not as many of you. Okay, so the thing is, we're not actually going to register a plugin. So maybe I should explain what a plugin is since we're in the plugin registration tool. Remember how in that infrastructure diagram earlier, there was a third column called sandbox, or sandbox servers, okay? We actually have a way that you can take DLLs that you've written, and we can run them actually in or as a part of our pipeline. This opens up some pretty cool opportunities in that you can, for example, validate and perform validation logic before your requests hit our system. You can also do things like operate your code within the middle of the transaction. You have a pre and a post image of what's going to happen, so you can manipulate the data, you can change the data, you can choose not to do anything at all based on things that you're seeing, whatever. It's super, super powerful. It's also, by the way, the best way in the world to bring your CDS to the ground. So be careful, with much power comes much responsibility. But through the same tool, we also allow, there's one other type of registration that you can perform, which are asynchronous or after the transaction registrations as well. Then in addition to plugins, we also provide a mechanism through which you can register either webhooks, service bus queues, or event hubs. And these come in two steps. The first is you instantiate a service endpoint, which is what I have up on the screen. And then after that, you create a registration on a particular entity and message. And so there's nothing particularly interesting here. More or less, you copy and paste information from the Azure portal. Now, I understand that is not the best approach to doing this. I understand. But you say, hey, I want you to post this information into a service bus namespace. I want to place it into a queue of a particular name. You specify the message format, and then you tell us how to authorize with that particular service bus namespace. I've already done that, so I'm going to click cancel. But I am going to expand here the different messages for which I've, the steps that I've created, okay? And I'm gonna go out of order here. So the first thing that you look at is the primary entity, okay? This tells us what thing in the system is of interest. And so we're saying, hey, the primary entity is annotation. So we care about stuff that's going on with annotations. Now, what things do we care about with annotations? Well, that's defined up through the message, which in this case, we really care when annotations are created. We then bind those to the service endpoint in the Orion Jones namespace under the queue named queue, and then we're able to say, hey, this is the first thing that executes there. And then, of course, at the bottom, you can see this is always post-operation, always asynchronous. There aren't actually any other options, once again, or just to reiterate there, when you're looking to register steps that involve invoking Event Hub Service Bus or webhooks. And so at this point, what will happen is every time an annotation is created in the system, we will write a message to that service bus queue. And so if we want to take a look at what that gorgeous message looks like, I've got that right here. And so there's lots of amazing things in there, right? Lots of GUIDs. Nothing excites me in the morning more than a screen full of GUIDs. And so really the only one that we care about is this primary entity ID right here. This is the ID of the annotation that was written. And maybe I shouldn't say the only thing we care about, because that's a very broad statement. But at least for this demonstration, this is the one thing that we care about. And so we've got our endpoint, we registered our actions, we have looked at that particular entity. And so let's look at configuring our Azure function. And so this will be a fun little detour to give you guys a bit of background about me, because that's really what you came here to learn about, right? Before I came to work on Power Apps and CDS, I actually worked in Azure. And so I worked on the team that built MSI back before we knew it was called Managed Identity or whatever it's called nowadays. And so let me find my Azure portal. To enable this, you're going to go to your function, you're going to go to Platform Features, you're going to go to Identity, and you'll see there's two flavors of identity, system-assigned identity and user-assigned identity. System-assigned identity, those identities always are coupled to the life cycle of the resource, while in the case of user-assigned identities, the life cycles are decoupled. For this case, the simplicity of system-assigned identity is nice, and so I clicked on. Now here, you'll note that they provide you with the AAD object ID. This is normally what you would use to create a role assignment or to grant permissions to this particular function. However, when you do grant applications access to Dynamics, they use the application ID rather than the object ID. I don't know why. Okay, and so you will need to find out the application ID for this particular object ID. The way that I did it was I wrote the code to get the token inside of my Azure function. I then, used my favorite JOT decoder to find out what application ID was in the JOT and did it that way. There might be more clever ways of doing it, but that's what I did, okay? I don't have a beautiful answer for you there. I apologize for that. But then the other thing, the other little speed bump that you have along the way is we actually don't have a UX in Dynamics for creating an application user today. However, we do have an API for it. And one of the simplest ways of doing it is to actually use our JavaScript SDK. And so I've got a little snippet for doing that right there. Literally, you paste this sucker into your console window, and it'll turn around and create your application user. Has anybody else done that before? Okay, a few of you. So once again, not the most elegant, but it'll get the job done. And so if I go over to here, the next step is I actually need to grant access to that user. And so you can go to your user administration view within Dynamics/CDS/whatever, do a little search for your app, and then, because this is a demo, I did the thing that we're never supposed to do, and I just made my demo account admin. Please don't do that when you go home, okay? There are lots of anti-patterns in today's demonstration, okay? So I now have a managed identity on my Azure function that has been added to my Dynamics instance and granted permissions. I'm sorry, not my Dynamics instance, my CDS instance, and has been granted permissions within my CDS instance. And so now I can actually do interesting things. So let's go back to my function and let's look at my trigger. And so this is a function that is service bus triggered once it loads. And so the first thing that I do is I get the token. Now this is not dynamic specific code here, okay? Literally the only thing here that is specific to Dynamics is the resource URI that's involved here. Now there is an SDK that you can use this, but I have to admit my background, I actually worked on the Azure API review board for several years, and so I tend to think more in terms of like REST wire protocol type stuff, and so I just use HTTP client to do this. And so I instantiate my HTTP client, give a resource string. I then go ahead and add this secret here, which is an environment variable, which is the MSI secret as a header. I then turn around and get a token using my MSI endpoint, which is also an environment variable for the CDS/Dynamics resource URI, and then adding this API version right there because that API is strongly versioned. I then take that response back, and then I look for the access token attribute for that, and that gives me the access token that I can use to call from my Azure Functions instance to my Dynamics instance. And the big benefit being here, there are no account secrets or anything like that that are being exchanged between like your AAD admin or whatever and your app service developer person or whatever. And so with that token, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start going through and finding out, I'm going to be getting information about the annotation that was updated. And so, this is a little out of order, I apologize. But I'm going to instantiate my HTTP client. I'm going to add that header that I use all the time, my bearer token. And then I am going to, this is actually just parse the service bus queue item that came in earlier. With that information, I'm then going to turn around and get the primary entity ID from that service bus message. I'm going to build the URI to then turn around and retrieve that specific annotation. Now, one of the things that's interesting is, as you saw earlier, we have lots and lots of information about some of these entities, and so you don't want to get all of them. And so I'm using $select to only get two particular attributes of interest, the object ID value. Once again, this is the ID of the photo to which the annotation is associated, and then the document body, which is the photo itself. I then get that information and parse my result. And from that, I can go through and I can get my object ID. I can get my object type code. So once again, this is the ID of the photo. This is the type code of the photo. The document body is the photo itself, but that is on the attachment entity. And then I am going to convert that into a byte array from a base64 encoded string. I then log that so that when it's 4 in the morning, I can figure what exactly I did wrong. And then if I see that, okay, this thing was in fact for Ryan's photo, then I'll turn around and start doing all that fun and interesting logic that we talked about earlier. Because remember, when we performed the registration in the plugin registration tool, that was on create annotation. Annotations can actually be created on a bajillion different entities in Dynamics. And so we don't want this code firing or running this logic or what have you when it's not necessary, because it's not going to work, okay? And so then the next thing I do is I create a stream from my document body, and then I'm going to get coordinates from that stream. And so here I use exiflib. It's a really cool little library for getting GPS coordinates. And so to make a long story short, I tell it to retrieve those particular exif tags, and then I convert them from, they're in the degrees, minutes, seconds format. I convert them into a decimal form, because that's the format that Azure Maps, as well as a lot of the other mapping or location-based tools, use in their APIs. And then I return that information, that array of two doubles, back to the caller. And so I now have the coordinates for that particular photo. Let's see. And so now I'm going to start going through and actually updating the photo entity with the information that I have retrieved or found from the annotation. And so I'm going to add my latitude and longitude to my, my content object that I'm starting to build up. I'm then going to create the URI that I use for updating that particular photo. and I then am going to patch that item and send the request. And so I now have a photo entity that's been updated to have the longitude and latitude coordinates. And then finally, we're going to, well, maybe not finally. You thought you were getting off easy. We have 20 more minutes. But let's see, from there, I'm going to go through and going to start interacting with Azure Maps to get the country code based on those coordinates. And so I build my maps URI based on that. And so you'll see that once you have an Azure Maps subscription, all it really requires is a longitude and latitude, as well as you have two ways of authenticating. You can authenticate against them using a SaaS or with managed identities. I have to admit, I took the shortcut and I just used the SaaS for now. Another thing that you should not do when you go home, because there might be a credential if I scroll all the way over to the right, okay? I now get that result, and then I look back in that, and then from there, there's generally only one result that comes back for what I'm doing. If it brings back two different addresses, generally speaking, they're going to be in the same country, and so that's good enough. And then I retrieve from that address the ISO 3-character 3166-1 alpha 3 thingamadoo. And then I log that to figure out at about 6 in the morning what I did wrong. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to associate this particular photo with the country. And so I am going to build my country URI using the ID that we retrieved earlier for that particular country. I'm sorry, based on the country code that we retrieved from Azure Maps. And then from there, we're going to go through and look at that object, and then we're going to pull back that country ID. So we're going from country code to country ID, because we need the ID of the country and the photo to create the association, and then log that information. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the association by adding the Ryan country at OData bind property on the photo resource. Yes, because I have my photo URI from earlier. And then I'm going to submit that request. And so now, once this is run, I have my GPS coordinates. I have taken those GPS coordinates and I have converted them into the ISO 3-character country designation. I have taken that and I have retrieved the country ID that was defined in my countries table. And then I have used that along with my photo ID that I retrieved from the annotation metadata to then associate those two items. And so what this will do is, remember how we created that roll-up field earlier? That was an aggregate on the country item. This will then turn around and start turning that counter, if you will. And so we've kind of round-tripped, gone all the way out from APIs through CDS out to Azure and then back in. And so you might be wondering, so what does this do at the end of the day? And so I actually have the app running over the top of this right here. And so I have my contacts, and by the way, I lied, there's actually one more very important attribute here. You see, there's the image of all the contacts. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Sorry, I know I'm biased. I know it's late, I won't show you photos of my kids. But then you can see my countries right here, lots and lots of countries listed. You can see that I have my photos right here, and they have been populated, in most cases, with the latitude, longitude, and country. By the way, one of the things I learned here, you can't trust EXIF data. For example, there's a photo of me giving a piggyback ride to my 3-year-old in Sequoia National Park before the fire last year. Apparently I was in China. I had no idea. So be careful. It's a great example of when, I guess you can't call that AI, but it's not always right, okay? And then finally I have, drum roll please, a map that renders in pink, because I have 2 girls that love pink, that renders all the different countries that we have visited as a family over the year. And so there's lots of green on the map, which tells me we have lots and lots of opportunity to continue exploring the world or taking more photos, because there are several countries on there that we have visited that, that aren't turned pink. And so how about this? How about we go ahead and take a look at the code that renders that experience. And so this is what we call a web resource. How many of you have built a web resource? Okay, some of you. So it's an HTML or JavaScript document that's typically hosted within a Dynamics or Power Apps model-driven application. With a few modifications, this can be hosted standalone. You have to figure out how to handle authentication and a few other things. But this is also what this code would look like in many ways, once again, with the exception authentication and getting certain context information. It's what the code for this would look like if you were hosting this directly out of Azure Storage as a static website or hosting this out of app services. And so I'm using the datamaps.io library to do this because I'm not clever enough to figure out how to render a map. And so what we do is we get the global context. This is how XRM/Power Apps model-driven apps do their magic. So I'm not going to go into what goes on behind the scenes there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to retrieve multiple records. This is essentially a get on the Ryan_country collection. And then I'm going to filter for when the Ryan photo count is greater than 0. When that happens, what it's going to do is it's going to build a dictionary of the countries where my count of photos is greater than 0. And, or actually it's going to do it for all of them because it filtered it up here. Once that's done, I'm then going to use the data map library to render that particular application. And so, at that point, that gives me this that you saw right here. And so, in review, we have used the OData APIs to create photo stub entities and upload images as annotations. We have configured our plugin registration tool to register steps so that create annotation pushes messages to our service bus queue. The queued message has triggered our Azure function. The function has used managed identity to talk to CDS. The function retrieves the new annotation information, the photo, and the relationship info to the photo that it's related to. The function then reads the EXIF data to get GPS coordinates. Function then calls Azure Maps to get our favorite three-character country code. And then the function associates the photo with the country. And then step number 9 is we get a beautiful color-coded map that helps my little girls understand what parts of the world they've been able to visit. And so, thank you so much for your time. More than happy to take questions at this point. The one favor that I ask is if you do have a question, if you could please use the microphone so that the folks that are handling the live streaming won't yell at me to repeat the question. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Oh, you can continue learning. And we value your feedback, especially if you like the session. And if you didn't like the session, that's cool too. The only thing I ask is help me understand what I could do to make it better next time. Okay? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Happy to take questions.